everyone, welcome to Bio 201, Principles of Biology. In this video, I'm going to cover the important parts of our course syllabus. The first thing I'd like to address is my information. On the left side of this slide right here, you'll see my office number, phone number, but the best way to actually reach me is through email. I have two emails listed because sometimes the Cerritos email, there might be problems, and so if for some reason I'm not responding and within 24 hours, you can go ahead and attempt to contact me via Gmail. Also indicated are my office hours. If you can't make any of those office hours, feel free to contact me and we can figure out a time that works for both of us. One thing I should add is that my office is in the science building, obviously, and if you're coming in from the breezeway, it's the first door on your left where the faculty offices are. Okay, moving on with page 1 of our syllabus. We have both the course description, which you can read for yourself. The only thing I want to highlight are the prereqs. You must have taken either Bio 120, Zoology 120, or Bot 120 and passed with a C. And then Chem 111, you should have passed it with a C or higher. Below that, we have the course learning outcomes. You can also read these for yourselves. This is mainly what we want you to walk out of this course. This is information that we want you to have at the completion of this course. Okay, additional information I want you to take note on. So the required text, Campbell's Biology, 11th edition. Those of you who took 200, you should already have it. If you haven't taken 200 yet, you need to get it. The lab manual. We don't actually have an official lab manual because the original we had was pretty expensive. So instead, I've made all the lab handouts free to you on Canvas. So if you go to the File tab on Canvas, there's a folder that says Lab Handouts. They're all there. You need to print them out and bring them to lab. I'm going to be checking by week 2 that you've printed them all out and you have them. You either physically print them out, or if you have a tablet, and I'm not talking about a phone or a phablet, an actual tablet, you can download all the PDFs, and I want to see that. Either way, I need to see them all by week 2. Other required materials, you're going to need 5 882E Scantrons. I'm going to be collecting those also by Wednesday of week 2. Don't put your name on them. Just give me the 5 Scantrons, and I will give them to you during exams. You need a basic calculator. You're going to need gloves for lab, but I'll talk about that more in lab. And same thing with a bound notebook. I'll talk about that in lab. Over here on the right, these are all the elements for lecture. And so lecture is going to be based on the following. You're going to have homework. I'm going to do it a little differently, so I might talk about this more in class. But before I would only do it online through Canvas. Now it's going to be a combination. I'm going to try to change things up a little bit. So we might actually be doing some homework during class. And instead what I want you to do at home is to watch a short video to prepare for that. But either way, it's either going to be online or during class. And because of that, I'm not going to be accepting any late work. Because the answers will be given to you either during class or once the online assignment closes, you'll see the answers. So no late work. That being said, I will drop your lowest one or if you miss one. Exams. There's 4 regular lecture exams and 1 final exam. The 4 lecture exams, please read about how they're going to, what kind of questions they're going to have, and kind of the rules about exams. Please read that on your own. For the lecture exams, I don't do any makeups because instead I drop your lowest score. That means if you miss one, that's automatically the one that is dropped. I don't care the reason. You don't need to show me any verification. I'm just going to automatically drop it. If, however, you don't miss any of the 4, then I will drop your lowest score. lecture exams, or excuse me, the final exam is cumulative and cannot be dropped. You cannot miss the final exam. So if you already have plans to fly out, make sure you're not going to be missing your final exam. Okay, the written project, we're going to talk about that later. Extra credit, there will be opportunities for extra credit. The max you can earn in my class for extra credit is 20 points. If you earn anything above that, it's just good on you. I'm not going to take any more points than 20. I'll talk more about lab during lab, but lab will be based on quizzes, and quizzes are usually given at the beginning of lab. Sometimes we might vary from that. They're going to be about 15 points each, and I will drop your 2 lowest quizzes, so no makeups. Instead, I dropped the lowest 2, but I'll talk a little bit more about those in lab. Then you have 2 lab exams, and they're both worth 80 points each. I'll talk about those later too, and then I'll also talk about the lab notebooks during lab. But please make sure you read these little sections. This section, please take a look at it. It's more of a reflection on your role in this class. Your success in this class is going to be based off of, yes, me and you, mostly you. And how you approach this class is going to be extremely important. I kind of stole this from somebody else. I really liked it. But it breaks things down into these 3 different approaches. And so one of them is, they call them waiters. Waiters are students who are basically just trying to pass the class. They want to do the bare minimum just to get through it. And if that's you, that's okay. Just understand that if you're not going to push yourself and challenge yourself, don't expect an A. Snorkelers are those that, do have a good general grasp on the basics already. They're comfortable with biology, and they're ready to push a little bit harder. Then you have scuba divers who are just going to go deeper. They really want to understand and be critical about what they're learning in biology. They're not just going to take what we learn in class and call it that. They're actually going to look things up, extend what we've learned in class. This is what I want you to try to go for. This is where you want to be as a learner. But if you're not there yet, that's okay too. You'll eventually get there. This section contains both the attendance policy and just general course policies. Please read this over so that you can see how many lectures or labs you're allowed to miss, how I really want you to use the syllabus constantly throughout the semester to get information. And then over on the policies, I want to emphasize the food and drink. You are not allowed to drink or eat, and that includes water, in our classroom, which is in the laboratory. That is definitely OSHA regulations. So please do not bring any food or drinks into the lab for consumption. As far as recording the lectures, please ask me if you want to audio record the lectures. I do not allow video recording, but I ask that you please let me know if you're going to be audio recording. Laptops, I do allow them. However, if, to take notes, if it becomes too distracting, like you're doing something else in class, then I'm going to ask you to put it away. These sections are for you to look at as well. This is kind of the general or approximate point breakdown. It ends up being that lecture is about 70% of your grade, lab is 30%. Here's the, again, the drop policy, the last days to drop, with or without a W. In this section, please take a look at it. It's basically some expectations I have of you as a college student. More than anything, I really hope that you approach this class with a good attitude. And that includes, even if you feel like you know this material already, that's great. Then maybe you can help out with other students who don't feel as confident in the material. Remember, I'm also looking at you as not just somebody learning about biology, but you and your potential leadership skills. There are other qualities about you as a student aside from just being able to learn material. This area is more just about some little tips for doing well in the class. Please, 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 please come visit me if you're struggling so we can talk. We can try to figure out strategies to help you better succeed. Definitely, I highly recommend that you read the textbook and take active notes. We can talk more about this during office hours if you'd like. I also would highly encourage you to download the slides. I usually make them available on Canvas the night before class. Please if you can, download the slides and take notes on them during class. This really is helpful if you have a tablet to do this. Also, this class, it's a little different from other classes. It's all conceptual. So this is often a challenge for students because it's not like you can practice a bunch of math problems. Here you really need to constantly check your understanding of the concepts that we have learned. And so that requires a lot of practice talking it out, practice drawing things out, because we're going to be talking about a lot of things that you can't even see with your eye. You have to visualize them in your head. Another strategy is to form a study group. This doesn't work for everybody, but it has proved successful for students in the past. You can also obviously supplement what we're doing in class with other online resources. There are countless videos online, countless other pages that you can use to back up what you've learned in class. Last thing, test yourself. After you've practiced something by reviewing it or drawing it out or taking notes or talking it out, test yourself to see, do you know the material well enough? The last couple of pages on the syllabus are is a schedule. Now, before I mention some things about the schedules, I do want to highlight this area here. If you require an accommodation, please, please, please let me know ASAP so we can arrange that. But on this schedule, and I'm also going to make available to you a calendar version of this schedule, but on here on the syllabus, this is what I have outlined for the semester. Each day, I'll tell you what we're hopefully going to be talking about in lecture, along with what chapters you can find that material, and then what lab we're going to be doing. And so you'll see that throughout the semester. There are also holidays mentioned. There is one day that I'm going to be gone from class, so we will not have class that day. I also put exam dates. To the right, this information right here has to do with lab, so I will address it in lab a little more closely. It's just, in a nutshell, it's just telling you which labs I will be collecting data from. And so that's what's found in this column here. It's just alerting you that lab's activity I will be collecting the data from. And then the last column is telling you when or which days we will have lab quizzes. And underneath it, it's telling you what is going to be on that quiz. And I will explain that further during lab. Last thing I want to show you is at the very bottom of the schedule, it does tell you when is our final exam day and the time. So it's right here. It's going to be in the same classroom where we normally have class. So that's it for the syllabus. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Please continue to use your syllabus as a resource throughout the entire semester. Should we deviate from the schedule, I will let you know, likely through the weekly pages on Canvas.